Managers had no idea who to shout at when customer cases weren't getting resolved, okay? And so what they did was they asked each of the people involved in this process to define this beautiful thing that you see here in front of you. So that at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, every single week, when they hit report, it would pull a report and tell you how many customer cases were in each part of this beautiful process.
Bring it.
So I'm in Bucharest, Romania for a workshop, and in this particular video I'm going to share 10 particular ideas on how to run a successful workshop. But first of all, I'm going to need some stickers. You see, today I'm going to be running a workshop on the 10 behaviours of effective employees, and I'm going to need some stickers for this. We're doing a creative artist immersive workshop, and I'm going to share with you today as we go through the day sort of behind the scenes of what it's like to run a tutorial, a workshop, and also share with you 10 particular ideas on how to run one successfully. So one of the first lessons is to prepare, to prep, to practice, because I often say that practice is preparation. So make sure you've got the slides, you've done the due diligence. That looks like that lamp's on top of my head, doesn't it? You know, you've put in the effort, you've done the hard work beforehand to prepare the slides, the workshop, the material, to understand what it is that you're delivering, and hopefully you've got something super important to share. So, I finished prepping, I've done the revision, the research, the practice, the preparation, got all my gear together, got all the stickers, got a laptop charger, all that kind of good stuff. You'll notice that I've got comfortable shoes on. During any particular workshop, I might cover maybe 15,000 steps within a sort of 4-hour window. So comfy shoes are a must, although appearance matters, obviously. I want to create a great first impression. I want people to feel like they can trust me, and I've done all the preparation. So lesson number 2. Set some constraints. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, if you're a corporate trainer, you're one of these people that goes around companies and does training sessions and workshops, that's cool as well, and conferences, and whether you're running this within your own company, you kind of want to set some constraints. Now, at this particular conference, this is a new workshop that I'm running. I've done the talk before, but I've turned it into a workshop. So I set a constraint, and that constraint being 40 people maximum. I didn't want the sort of tutorial guide, the set of slides basically, being sent out before the tutorial, because it contains a number of the answers that I want the teams to work through in the workshop. They're the constraints. Now, as it happens, this particular conference has put 60 odd people into this workshop. You want to sort of put boundaries around what it is that's going to make this workshop successful. If all you're after is to put as many people into an interactive workshop as you're trying to, or you can, for money reasons or because you just think that's a good idea, I'd say hold caution, because these interactive workshops are difficult to run. They require a lot of energy and attention, and if you've got too many people in there, then you might find that it dilutes the effect for everybody and it becomes a nightmare to run it. But try and set those constraints. What are the boundaries that are going to make your workshop super successful? And do this in advance, not on the door turning people away if you think there's too many. Give them the pre-wire, the information, and the conferences or the companies can make sure that they try and fit within those constraints. Most of them do. Oh, bloody hell. There's always that worrying moment that someone's going to be in the lift and, you've either just got to brave through this Same here when we get out. Comfy shoes. So this seems to be my room, I think, and there's Rick, one of the other conference speakers, doing a wonderful job. Our room looks busy. Looks like a decent room. Let's see how we go on. That's a workshop professional there, Rick. I think he was just on Twitter, X, while everyone else is sort of busy working, and there's sort of Rick flashing his book and doing a good job. I'm in here next, just scoping out the room. So lesson number 4, according to my list, is you're never going to get it right, okay? So you've got to accept that around 50% of the audience are going to want more interactive, more hands-on, more practical, more that kind of stuff. And the other 50% are going to want less. And a good way to sort of think about this is what I try to do is just get balance. So I try to do 50-50, so 50% of the full workshop, might not all be sort of, evenly distributed, but about 50% of the time in the workshop is interactive, hands-on, practical, learning, that kind of stuff. And then the other 50% is me solo waffling, or ramble chatting, as Adam Buxton might call it. And you'll never get it right. There'll be some people that say they wanted it to be more interactive, and there'll be some that say it was too interactive, they just wanted to sit and listen. So that's a good sort of general rule of thumb. It's not always true, of course. Like rules of thumb, they're not always correct. But that's just my general advice. I appreciate you're going to get it wrong, and I actually start each session by saying that. That some of you will want more, some of you will want less, and I'll try my hardest to make sure it's a good balance. So, back in the room, I wandered around, scoped out the area, realised I wanted to add a new slide to the beginning of the workshop to introduce myself. I realised I'd missed that off, and I don't quite know why that was, but hey ho, I'm going to add in a slide. Now here's one of the challenges with workshops is a lot of the material is printed in advance of the workshop. So if you've got workbooks for people to work through, or maybe it's just a copy of the slides, then they tend to get printed in advance. So there's going to be a few changes to the slide that aren't reflected in the workbook. But one of those things, you're going to encounter problems. There's things you might want to change, there's things that just don't seem right anymore, so you've got to change it. And for me, I have no problem with that, explaining that actually there might be a few subtle differences. As long as you're not changing too much, there should be no problem at all. So I'm going to stick that slide in at the beginning and just walk through the workshop just one more time. It's 10 to 12. My talk is, I think, starting at 2:15, so I've still got quite a lot of time. I've got lunch. But the thing is, if you sit and ponder too much, you want to change loads, and at some point you've just got to draw a line and say, that's it, done, finished. So we've got stickers and goodies, and I've just been setting up the room. We've got post-it notes, of course. We've got loads of these cool stickers with just words and what have you on. We've got some cool stickers here. I'm going to empty them all out in a minute. Some more. The conference organisers have provided me with some cool stickers. Oh wow, there's some really cool stuff here. And some magazines for those that want to cut up a magazine and do maybe a bit of a collage for this. We've got pens, we've got all sorts. We're set. I've got paper. We're going to create some posters. And with that, preparation. So the next lesson really is go and scope the room. Earlier we talked about that, and then once you're in the room, get it all prepped and set up. It's going to be live streamed, so we've got the camera over there. I'm going to make it very hard for the cameraman, to be honest, because I move around quite a bit. We're all good, got it all set up. Everything's looking good. I had to rearrange all the furniture. Unfortunately, that was my fault. I should have put forward the request that I wanted the room set up this way, and they would have done that for me. That's on me. It took about 20 minutes. The conference organisers really helped me there, and we're good. Oh, that hurt. So let me just do a quick tour of the room for you. So this is what it's like being a conference tutorial speaker, organizer, runner, I don't know what it is. So this is where I'm going to be. It's all set up. The laptop will go out in a minute once I've got everything set up. So the next lesson is to do a killer opening intro and bring that energy. And this next sort of 2 lessons are wrapped up together. One is don't go heavy on the social. It becomes quite tempting to sort of go out, have some drinks, all that kind of stuff. When you go heavy on the social, you're going to miss this next lesson, which is to bring momentum and energy, because you're the one that brings that. You're the one that encourages that in the room. You can't rely on the people in the room to provide the energy and the momentum for the workshop. That's on you. You've kind of got to bring that energy, bring that enthusiasm, and that will infect everybody else, you know? That sounds wrong in today's day and age. So one of the core principles of communication, and you can get that sort of superpower workshop, it's available online. There's a link in the show notes where you can learn about the 11 principles of effective communication. I've also done a video, which I will put the banner in the video as well. And one of those is that you need to be sort of almost visibly passionate. You need to feel something. You need to be energized. You need to sort of have that momentum and that enthusiasm, because enthusiasm is contagious. When you're running a workshop, you can't rely on the audience to bring that enthusiasm. Many people might not know who you are. They've had a busy day. I'm in the afternoon slot here till 6 p.m. Yes, 6 p.m. They've just had lunch. People are going to be tired. The enthusiasm is on me to bring that energy. And that's why if you go out and you have a good night on the social, but you feel rough the following day, you've got to try and muster that energy, that enthusiasm, and then bring that with you into the workshop. Hey everybody, it's the day after the tutorial. I'm about to fly home. I've got to do one final interview with the conference organisers. They like to have the speakers do a little sort of chat about the event, what you did, what you talked about, a bit about your experience. So I've got that in about 25 minutes. Final few lessons here. So starting a tutorial. One of the most important things you can do at the start of a tutorial is obviously introduce yourself, have a lot of fun, try and get them to giggle. But the other thing that's really important is that you set clear instructions. As with any tutorial, there'll be some interactive stuff. Hopefully you've got a nice blend, as I talked about, 50-50 for me, 50% interactive, 50% just me talking. The interactive stuff's really, really important that you set super clear instructions, you know, really clear as to what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, what the purpose of it is, you know, what the outcomes are going to be, so that people aren't confused and you're not having to field loads of questions. Super clear, clarity right there at the beginning. That gets you alignment around everybody in the room, and then you get the right action that comes from it. Now, of course, it goes without saying that you should have something interesting to talk about, and my tutorial was about the 10 behaviors of effective employees. I've done a video on that before, somewhere up here. It's in the show notes. Lesson number 10. There's going to be problems. There's going to be dragons. I was hoping to design 10 posters for the 10 behaviors, but actually after about 4 posters, the audience was starting to get a bit tired of doing posters, even though at the end of it, there's going to be a nice magazine that they get to keep and see their creative artwork. So I pivoted and changed, and during the break, we came back and we did a video instead, and I might include bits in this video, you might see bits of it. But you're going to have to pivot. There's going to be problems, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be people that ask difficult questions. That's good, that's what you want. You want people to be engaged and to be thinking about it and to be asking questions for clarity. Now, the more that I run this tutorial, the more that I will fine tune it and be able to take in all those pivots and deviations that happen during the course of these things and weave them into the very fabric of the tutorial itself. And then your tutorial gets better. You are countering some of that stuff that you might have seen before, and you're building your repertoire, so to speak. That was a posh word for me at this time in the morning, of interactive activities that you can do whilst you're doing your tutorial. But the key thing here is I definitely encourage you to check out the 11 principles of effective communication, link in the show notes, because they are the 11 that I apply to these tutorials. You know, all of the lessons that I've shared here are, you know, hopefully helpful and interesting to you. But if you can't bring that energy, if you can't communicate with the right purpose, audience, and context, if you haven't done the practice, if you are not congruent with your body language, all of the stuff that we cover in those 11 principles, if you don't do those things, then, you know, your tutorial might be a huge success, and I wish you all the best with it. But the reason that my tutorials tend to do particularly well and score quite highly is because I personally bring those 11 principles to the tutorial itself. So I'd encourage you to check out that video. And then the final lesson, lesson number 11, maybe we're up to 10, who knows, you know, it's been a busy couple of days. But the next lesson and the last one is to just try and have fun. You know, not forced fun, nobody likes that forced fun, but just try and really enjoy the moment, enjoy the tutorial, enjoy the learning opportunity that you're going to get from running these things, and enjoy the looks on the faces and the notes that people make when you're doing your tutorial. That's one of the best things, is having people come up to you at the end and ask you questions, clarify, say how good it was, hopefully. That did happen a few times yesterday, so I'm quite happy with that. It's that sort of fun moment. It's your opportunity to shine. You're here to do the thing that you're here to do. And that's hopefully to teach people how to do something interesting, something that interests you. And with that, I'm going to go and do the video for the conference. Then I'm going to get on the plane, British Airways, back to Heathrow and back home to see my wife and the kids. So I'll show you what to do. Just walk up here. You can do a wave, dance, a smile, or whatever, or just walk.
Okay.
You go that way, whatever. Yeah.